friends, it's Trevor, it's Avery, it's Pat, it's the citywide special. The Sixers are in the playoffs. A career game from Nick Batum helped propel the Sixers to a wild come-from-behind victory over the Heat in the play-in on Wednesday. They now face the Knicks in round one. The Flyers are not in the playoffs. The season comes to an end after the team falls short against the Capitals on Tuesday. Can the season be considered a success, or is their middle-of-the-road finish the worst of both worlds? The Eagles signed Devonta Smith to a 3-year extension. With the draft a week away, who could the Birds be targeting? Like fucking scream at dark. The Phillies split a 4-game series with the Pirates and sweep the Rockies. Can the Phils keep the wins coming versus the lowly White Sox? Will Nick Castellanos ever get an extra base hit? The Union remain undefeated after a 2-2 draw against Atlanta United. All that and more coming up right now. How's it going, fellas?
Going pretty good. Back for 57, a good happy day in Philadelphia, you know what I mean? And when everybody wins, it's always a good day on the pod. Again, for some reason, the week started off nice and sunny and beautiful, and for somehow, every time we do the pod, it is the worst and shittiest day. So It's cold out, it's miserable.
That's how it works.
Kind of depression is hitting again real quick, like a little teaser, but we're fighting back. I got two full tanks of propane. The grill's ready to roll. So
Propane.
Yeah, so we ain't messing around.
And propane accessories.
We ain't messing around. But feels good to be back. Feel like I'm riding this high for the Phils and the Sixers. Draft looming for next week. So yeah, man, feeling pretty good.
I'll tell you something that's pissing me off, man.
Let me hear it.
Trader Joe's raised the price of bananas.
How much?
They used to be 19 cents each. Now they're 23 cents each.
It's still pretty
Fucking
goddamn cheap,
Joe
though.
Biden over
Man,
here.
yeah, I'm about to, fucking thanks, Brandon.
Between the hiking price of
It is still very cheap,
hiking
though.
the price of bananas, and they got the fucking Ebola or E. coli and the basil. You saw that?
What?
Was that at Trader Joe's?
Yeah,
I just bought
Joe's.
some basil at Trader
To
Joe's.
throw that shit out.
Don't
Can't be
eat
eating
it.
it. Can't be eating it.
It looks good.
Stores in PA, Jersey, and Delaware have all been hit with.
Trevor, you're barking up the wrong tree if
Maybe.
you eat it.
Yeah, I guess I can
Barking
settle.
up the wrong
I can
herb.
settle for the basil, the dry.
You live in South Philly. Get your basil somewhere else. You got plenty of places to get basil
you gotta
from.
go to the Italian market.
I don't know if it was a Spanish basil or like the regular basil, but
I'll look into it before I
yeah,
use it.
that basil tainted from Trader Joe's.
That's why it's
No
so
bueno.
cheap. But yeah. That is like every time people are talking about like the how bad grocery store prices are, I'm just like, it doesn't seem that bad. But I realize it's because I get most of my shit at Trader Joe's.
It is funny too, like you run the game, but like I feel like every month they're recalling some shit at Trader Joe's anymore. They're like, oh, the frozen pizza rolls are like got glass in them.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to shop at Acme, I'd probably be.
Acme's the worst.
I'd be self-immolating on the fucking White House lawn by now.
That's how you know you got it made. That you can shop at Acme every week. Just spend $150 every time
It is
you go in
extreme.
there.
Yeah, if I go to Acme, I'm spending like 3 times what I would spend at Trader Joe's.
And you get
It's
nothing in
unbelievable.
return. Wegmans, you spend a lot of money, but you get a shit ton. You go to
Plus,
Acme.
Wegmans, like the produce is nice and like brolic and bulky and fresh and it'll last
looking.
long. Like you go to Acme, you buy an onion that's like the size of like my nipple, and it goes bad in a week. And onions aren't supposed to go bad that quickly.
Yeah.
Like what's
I
that all
usually
about?
Hang around for a while.
And ShopRite's butt like that too. I'll never forget
Never
this,
been
right?
to ShopRite. Well, I mean,
ShopRite's ass, right?
Avery got them.
Yeah,
He
I
got
do-
them,
I
he
do
got them
have some-
Acme onion nipples.
I do have some big nipples, like not gonna lie here, but just for comparison's sake, those onions from Acme are small and not that good. But yeah, ShopRite, right? I remember one time I bought a whole bag of apples, 3-pound bag of apples, right? All excited. Was like a spring day, like it's springtime, so like I'm not running the AC, but my house isn't hot, so I'm like, okay, I can just keep this out in the fruit bowl for a few days. I'll be eating apples all week. 3 days go by, the whole bag's bad.
Ugh.
Damn.
3 days.
And it's a sugary fruit to go bad too. You get the freaking fruit flies in
Yeah,
there. It gets a
exactly.
little
There were
sticky.
bugs all in my. Oh, it was awful. Like the fruit bowl was all covered in just syrup.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
bad, dude. Yeah, you can't be playing around. That's why I still go to Wegmans.
What's your apple of choice if you do buy apples?
Oh, you don't want to get me started about apple talk. I love a Honeycrisp.
Honeycrisp.
Oh yeah,
I was
come on
gonna
now.
say,
I was gonna say,
Honeycrisp.
there's only one.
Honeycrisp
There's only
is
one
the
king in
best.
the apple world. It's Honeycrisp right
Yeah.
there. You know where they come
Honeycrisp
from?
or a Fuji is pretty good too.
Where did Honeycrisp come from?
I think they come from Montana.
Okay.
Really?
That's where they primarily come from. Yeah.
That might explain why they're more expensive than
Sweet,
regular.
crunchy.
Yeah.
I think you could grow them wherever you get them now. But the best ones, I'm pretty sure it's an M. I think it's Montana. Pretty sure it's Montana. But yeah, sweet, got the perfect amount of crunch,
Yeah, they're
but
nice
flavor
and tart
to them.
too. Yeah, at the same time.
It's the premium apple out there.
Yeah. It's the apple eater's apple.
I've been getting more into Granny Smiths too. I'm not gonna lie. If I really
I
want
always
a
like
little
the
sour
Granny
tart,
Smith. Yeah, I've always liked the Granny Smith. I feel people kind of shit on those. I don't know why.
they
I think
can't
they're
handle
fine.
the little you get that little bite up in the little
That
your
is a
cheeks for
weird
minute.
feeling, to be
Yeah.
fair.
But once you get past that,
The worst are the just the standard red ones. The
the ruby
But-
red or whatever.
the Red Delicious.
Red
Red Delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah, terrible. Get it out of here.
If you have to put delicious in your name, you know that shit ain't gonna be good.
Yeah, compensating for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, what about Golden Delicious?
They tend to be too soft for me.
I don't really know what those are.
I don't. When you get an apple,
They do get soft a little quicker.
because when you eat a Honeycrisp, obviously every apple, when you bite into the skin, it has that initial crunch to it. Honeycrisp, you get through all the skin, all the way to the core, it's still crunchy. Where I
Yeah.
feel like a Golden Delicious, once you get the skin off, it's like mush, and I don't like that
Do you
texture.
think a Golden Delicious is like if a Red Delicious and a pear, if you put them together? That's kind of, I think that's probably what that is.
That's a good comparison because a pear has a more softer. Having grown up with a pear tree, they do have a more soft
nice.
meat to them.
Yeah, I do like a pear too, though.
Love pears.
Pears are nice. Yeah.
I'll bring some to the pod once the tree's in season.
Yeah, you got some mangoes you got to bring to the pod too.
Mangoes are
15
good.
years
Some
that shit
peaches.
is gonna take. Yeah,
Mango's probably my
15
favorite.
years for a mango?
to fruit. Yeah,
Oh, God, dude. In 15 years, I'll be
I'll be shipping them out
damn
wherever you guys are
near
at.
50. Jesus. That's a long time from
But
now.
then you'll need those mangoes though for
Yeah.
You'll need that
nutritional
vitamin
value.
C.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, sir.
But yeah, man. Well, not bad. Speaking of things blossoming and coming into fold, we can start with or coming to an end.
Let's get the Flyers out of
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, we'll start with the ugly.
the recalled
the bad.
items from Trader Joe's, the Flyers. Yeah.
Yeah. So they officially are out of it. All they had to do was win like 2 of those games in that 8-game stretch against shitty teams. Could not do it. Pretty disappointing considering where they were. We kind of talked about this last week, but it's sort of difficult to really judge if this season was a success or not.
What's your vote? What's your initial vote just on the success? Success or not successful season this year?
I would still say leaning more towards successful. Maybe not like 100% successful, but they're above the 50%, on the success meter, I would say.
Like scale of 1 to
Just-
10, you're giving it like a
Yeah, let's give it a solid 7, I guess.
maybe.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. I've come around a little bit.
Yeah.
When I was at the
Yeah.
game on Tuesday, like at the end of the game, like the people that stuck around, like we were all just in agreement that, didn't make the playoffs, but they kept us in it until the very last game of the season,
Yeah.
which if you would have told us that in October when the season started, we would have taken it.
Right.
Did,
we had meaningful games to end the season, which we have not had in a little while.
Yeah, and I mean, did things go wrong? Sure, yeah, the Carter Hart thing went terribly wrong. Color Gautier defecting went terribly wrong. We'll say defecting, whatever we want to call it. The development of, Arison's development didn't stagnate, but he kind of just wore down at the end of the year, which wasn't great.
Just
But
natural and warranted, honestly.
Did Coots regress? Did Cam Atkinson perform anywhere near where anyone expected him to? No. So certain things didn't go well, but certain things went great. I mean, look at Tyson Forster.
Yeah.
Hit
Some
a
of those
great
younger
season.
guys, Morgan Frost started coming around.
Yeah, Bobby Brink.
Yeah.
He played good. Sanheim broke out in a lot of ways. Konechny had a solid season. And
Yeah, I mean, the guys who you assume are going to be around for the foreseeable future were pretty good. I mean, Coots is a big question mark. I know a lot of people are really down on him right now.
I think he just wore down.
Yeah, I
He's
think
coming off 2 back surgeries.
right. I mean, he started off the season looking great, so you think hopefully another full off season to fully recover, and you hope that he can get back in the form.
Yeah, I think it was a success. I mean, we had no real expectations coming into the season, so did we have the classic Philly where they get you to buy in when you're kind of dismissive at front? For sure. At one point we had 75% chance of making the playoffs, and then we had a classic Flyers historic losing streak, which is what it is.
It was
but,
coming all year. We kept
I mean,
saying,
at the same time, though, it's like it's nice to at least watch exciting hockey, which we couldn't say for a while for the Flyers, where at least they were in it for a little bit, which made it fun. So successful. We'll see how they do. I think they're in a better position now going into the offseason with Briere they have their front office kind of cleaned out last year. They figured that out. This year, they already have a plan kind of coming into things. So hopefully things work out that way. We got a bunch of picks coming up the next couple of years. It's going to be growing pains, obviously, but I think it's a reason to be excited about to be a Flyers fan again, though.
Yeah.
Without too much, within reason.
Yeah, we're not saying Stanley Cup Finals or bust next season,
but just
by
to
any
have
means.
decent, at least decent teams, not just bottom of the barrel. I don't envision that next year. It could happen, obviously, but
yeah. I mean, I know a lot of and there's certainly a lot of fans out there who are looking at this like, well, this is kind of the worst possible outcome where we weren't bad enough to get a high pick, but we also didn't make the playoffs or right back in that sort of bubble middle, picking. I think we're going to end up picking like 12th.
A lot of the odds could swing.
And
that's true. I mean, who knows? But what I would say to that, though, is unlike the teams that have been in this position the past decade or so, they're going into this with, this draft and next year, between this draft and next year's draft, they have 7 picks in the first 2 rounds. I don't think they've had anything like that since like 2016, 17. So it's not like they're, trading their top picks to try to patch a good team together. They're still, Briere is still, has this plan in mind and has been consistent with it. They might be able to pick up, assuming I feel like there's a pretty solid chance they're going to trade Lawton in the offseason, so maybe get even another, at least first or at least a couple seconds, whatever it ends up being out of that. So they got a lot of lottery tickets the next couple years. They have now one of the better farm systems in the league. I know I was looking at some rankings that were done on The Athletic that had the Flyers as the 6th best prospect pool in the league, and this was after the Gauthier thing.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I mean, a lot of that just really just comes down to, because I also saw some rankings that had us like 20th, but it really just comes down to what they think of Mishkov.
Yeah.
So if you're of the opinion that like, well, he has potential, but still a lot of growing to do and this and that, but then there's another school of thought with a lot of these like evaluators that are pretty convinced that he's, barring some major setback or something, he's like going to be a superstar in the NHL. So if that pans out, then they're way ahead of where they've been the past, the past decade or whatever, where they've been on this bubble and in this purgatory or whatever. So all in all, still feeling good about things.
I think the biggest
ahead.
question mark could be Torts.
Yeah, I mean the team's pretty. They've come out and said pretty definitively that he's going to be back coaching next year. Beyond that, who knows?
If he even lasts a full season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that. I definitely can't see a scenario where they fire him.
No, I don't think they'll fire him. I think he might just be like, yeah,
right. It's more so
I kind of want to go just sit upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think maybe after next season, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that the consensus, though, is that we had a good season. I mean, they gave us something to root for. They got us excited again, broke our hearts, so they're kind of back into where every other Philadelphia team is now in the sense that they can pull us in just to break us down again. But, young, optimistic team. Briere, I think we're in a good position that way to make some good picks. You could move up, too, in the draft. You got a shit ton of picks, so they could make a move for something. I mean, whether this year or next year. So it's at least exciting on both fronts where even if we are going to be asked next year, Briere even showed this year he made moves midseason that didn't necessarily cripple the team, but made us a little bit better for next year. So he's got a good head on his shoulders. We got youthfulness all throughout the whole organization, besides head coach, obviously. But I don't know. I think it's decent.
Yeah, you know who's a free agent?
Walker.
Yep.
He's all right.
I mean, they've already
Johnny Walker Blue High right here.
Bring him back, dude.
It's
bring him
a
back.
pretty decent possibility, honestly. Like I think they've discussed this.
Yeah,
pretty
he's
openly.
young enough. You could bring him back for a couple years.
Yeah, they obviously liked him here. He seemed to like being here, fit very well in this system.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at
Would
all.
be a huge boost for the defense.
Yeah, because you figure some of their prospects are still a bit away.
He's probably getting traded.
Yeah, I mean, if they could unload that contract, that'd be great. Even though he was pretty solid this year, but
He's
still,
also,
if you could get off that contract, I would absolutely do it.
He's banged up, but I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like you said, get off the contract, bring back Sean Walker, someone like better player than Risto that will fit in good and help hold down the defense while Ali Bonk, you know what I'm saying? Who else we got down there? What's this other defenseman's name?
Emil Andres.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. While those guys get ready, Sean Walker can hold it down, dude.
Yeah.
But no, it should be an interesting offseason. I'll be intrigued to see what they do at goalie. Like if they figure, Erson, he deserves a shot at some regular playing time again next year as long as we spell him a little bit more. And if spelling him looks like Fedotov, if it looks like Kolosov, if it looks like some other vet that they bring in to be a backup like a Brian Elliott type.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they signed a free agent veteran type of guy.
Yeah, I kind of expect that to happen. We'll see, man. Like, I don't know. I could see them bringing in some sort of veteran types that are going to be around when the Flyers are good again, but also have some utility now. I don't know who that is, what that looks like beyond Sean Walker, but we'll have to wait and find out. But all in all, I'm proud of the Flyers. I got sad at the end of the game because it was the first game I went to all season, and I looked around and I was like, oh, the season's over. I want to come back to another game.
Yeah.
It was disappointing.
Oh, but I feel like we can't wrap up the Flyers discussion without talking about how funny it was the way that ended with...
Yeah, that was wild, being at the game.
Yeah, because, for people who maybe don't know what we're talking about, so in order for the Flyers to have gotten into the playoffs, they had to both beat the Capitals in regulation. They also needed the Canadiens to beat the Red Wings in regulation. The Red Wings end up tying their game with like 5 seconds left in regulation to send their game to overtime. So at that point, it's over. We're not making the playoffs no matter what happens. But I guess the message did not get relayed to the bench because it was pretty close to the end of our game too.
It happened like a minute apart.
Yeah. So Torts pulls the goalie in which is obviously only something you would ever do in this kind of situation, and the Capitals get an empty net goal, which knocked the Red Wings and the Penguins out of the playoffs. It's just pretty fucking hilarious. I mean, imagine being a Red Wings fan after they tie up that game. You're probably like going nuts, like, yeah, fucking 5 seconds left. We're still in this shit. And then like 30 seconds later, it just all gets taken away by something that we did not need to do at all.
Yeah.
It's so good. And like, fuck the Penguins, screwed them over too.
Yeah,
so that's
the Penguins fans were all salty as shit. That was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like being at the game, like you didn't really have much of a concept of what was going on. So like I'm rooting for the Flyers and like I'm looking up. It's the third period. It's 1-1. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna have to pull the goalie soon.
Yeah.
And then as soon as like I start to think that, the people like behind me are like, oh, it's over. Detroit just tied it with a few seconds left, but I'm ignoring it, right? I just keep trying to ignore it. And then more and more people around me are like, oh, yeah, Detroit just tied it. Then I force myself to look up the scoreboard. And yeah, they did tie it. So I was like, oh, shit. And then he pulls the goalie right after that. Then they score like 20 seconds later. I'm like, okay, it's really over. But you know what? Fuck Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was very good. Very funny. Had to give us a little shot of something there. So... Yep, I guess that just about wraps up the Flyers. We'll see, I guess they'll be preparing for the draft in the next month or whatever.
Yeah, when is the NHL draft?
I think it's usually like in June or something.
It's like, it's before the NBA? No, it's after the NBA draft, isn't it?
I thought it was before because we all got together before the NBA draft. Because we got together for the NHL draft last year.
Oh, yeah,
for the
we
Mishkov
watched it
draft.
here. Yeah, that's right.
And it was hot as balls.
The NBA draft's like usually end of June. They're probably like a week apart.
They're not that off. Yeah, they're around the same time. But, yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, now on to the better news.
Yes.
No real way to go south after that conversation, only up. Whether it's Phils or Sixers, Eagles are indifferent, but wherever you want to take it, let's ride.
Let's do the Eagles.
All right, Bird Gang, here we go. Draft coming up in a week, next Thursday. 22nd pick in the draft as it stands right now.
They're probably going to move up. Howie loves to move up.
Up or down?
I think they're going to move up. He was saying something the other day when they spoke to the media. He was saying that the way he looks at it, the top 25 picks in the draft are all very good. Like, he feels comfortable with picking any of them. But, like, think about it. If they move back, they're probably moving back beyond 25, and they're not going to probably get a player he feels really strongly about. So the way I look at it is if there's any likelihood that they move anywhere, it's up. Who it is, I don't know. It depends on how the boards fall.
If they move up, they're going to get, in my head, an offensive person. Because all the reports I've been seeing right now for this draft is that it's going to be a heavy, heavy, heavy offensive first round. Potentially historic. I think right now the record for the first round is like 17 or 18 offensive players picked in the first round is like what the record is for most offensive players picked. Picking at 22, our biggest need really, I think, is corner, unless you look at the fact that we lost Kelsey and, we're going to lose Lane Johnson in a couple years, so you could get another O-lineman while Stout's still there. But if you move up, in my mind, you're moving up for, I guess, an O-lineman or potentially a receiver. I mean, there's no one else really offensively that we need at the moment, especially given the fact that A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Hurts. I mean, everybody's locked. Saquon Barkley, they're all locked up for the next 3 years anyway.
Brock Bowers, maybe.
I don't know
I don't think they're going to move up for
him. To move up for a tight end, and I think that he's going to go. No.
And they also they don't really draft tight ends in the first round typically.
I think it's going to be for an offensive lineman.
I don't know when they've ever done that, but
they could break the record for most offensive linemen drafted in the first round and most overall offensive players in the first round. So if he moves up, it would be for offense. I think he's going to move down, but what do I know? I'm not really sure. Or I could see him doing another kind of trade, a draft day trade again. I mean, the dude he's a wild man, Howie, when he's this time of year, and he's already done an impeccable job. So I'd be curious to see what he does. But I think that unless Cooper DeJean goes first or the guy from Toledo goes first, he might want to move up to jump ahead a couple spots to get, Kool-Aid McKinsley. But other than that, no need to stretch to move up to get a linebacker. No need to stretch.
No, definitely not a linebacker.
No need to stretch to get anybody else like that. There's that cat from Texas who's a great defensive lineman as well. But I think this draft, you're going to be pretty safe getting a defensive player, a premier defensive player at 22, given what the teams ahead of you need.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think there's leaning offensive linemen, right? Because you figure, like you said, Lane Johnson's not going to be around much longer. Yeah. They lost Kelsey. Juergens probably plays center. I don't think they really like Tyler Steen that much to play right guard.
Not a lot to really tell, to be honest. I mean, he has another year of Stoutland University.
There's a lot to tell. When he was in training camp last year, he was getting second-team snaps. But then when, Juergens went down last year, he wasn't the one playing backup right guard. It was Suo Peta. I mean, that tells you, they didn't feel really strongly about Tyler Steen enough to put him in there when they drafted the third-round pick. So, yeah, I still feel like, and they're like, I have these Howie quotes, but they're pretty long. But in essence, someone asked him, would you draft an offensive lineman with your first-round pick, knowing that he might end up sitting behind Lane or that he might end up playing right guard and then moving to right tackle? And Howie's basically, to paraphrase these, 4 paragraphs that he's saying, obviously Lane Johnson's irreplaceable, and any guy that we draft, he's going to have big shoes to fill. But the purpose of bringing him in young is to have him learn from Lane. It's what they did with Juergens and Kelsey. It's what they did with Jalen Carter and Fletcher Cox, right? So he's saying, in short term, you think about that, and you think about, can this guy play another position? Can he not? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What I'm thinking about more is long-term, and long-term is I need to have someone to replace Lane Johnson. And Sirianni kind of said something to the same effect when they had their media availability the other day. He said, obviously I want to win now. Every coach wants to win now, but at the same time, I'd be lying if I didn't say that if I didn't also say that I think about the future. I do think about the future. So I think, all signs are pointing towards them taking an offensive lineman. I hope it's someone that can play right guard in the short term and then bounce over the right tackle in the long term. But I don't know. I haven't really done enough research or like read enough about the draft yet to know who those prospects are and where they're going to fall on the board.
Yeah. I mean, if you just figure, I just think if they move up, it's going to be for an O lineman. There's no need to.
No, they should have moved up for a corner. Yeah,
you're going to get a top 3 corner in the first round at 22. That's a given. Just given the fact that whatever other team needs, like there's no other team that has as big of a need as we do at that position. And 22 is a decent spot for that. But if you move up, I'm okay with getting an O lineman that way. Whether you get the guy from Oregon State, he'll probably be the first one off the board in terms of O lineman. Regular Oregon as well, it has a good guy out there too. He's got like a 3-part name.
The guy from Notre Dame, yeah, he'll be
Notre
gone.
Dame,
though.
anybody from Notre Dame as well.
He's going to be gone.
Yeah, but I think that if I'm them, I'm happy with sitting at 22. You move up, you want to get an O lineman, I get that, you know what I mean? But I think the biggest need right now is going to be corner, and I think that you're in a great position. If you move up, that's fine. Second round, too, we also have 50 and 52, which is a great position to be at as well. So you have a guy from Alabama that's going to probably fall to the second round. Again, given that it's such a heavy offensive forward position in the first round, you can get your linebacker and corner in the second round to be good to go. Or use those as capital to move up again. Howie's a wizard with the draft anymore, so he's kind of gotten it together. The last 5 drafts we've had in the first round picks were Nolan Smith, Jaden Carter, Jordan Davis, A.J. Brown, essentially, Devonta Smith, Rager, and Dillard. So you had 2 that were duds, but the 5 most recent,
that's a pretty good batting average.
He's kind of gotten his shit back together right now.
Yeah, I mean, Howie's known for the draft day trade to bring in a vet. I think that comes on day 2, like it did last year with Swift.
Oh, yeah.
You figure you have those 2 second-round picks. You have a couple fourths. I could see them using that to trade for someone at some position. I don't know where that position is. Maybe it's corner. Maybe it's a slot receiver. That's a sneaky need that we have right now. But I could see them doing something like that. I could also see them drafting a receiver, like the round with one of those
second
picks.
round maybe, sure.
Yeah, not the first, but
I think that really it's only going to be corner, interior defensive line, or offensive tackle. I think that's the 3.
I did see something where the Eagles have met with basically all of the top corners in the draft.
Yep.
So it seems like they're really zeroing in on that, whether it's in the first round or the second.
There's also a guy from Rutgers that's really good at corner as well, and he had to play against Marvin Harrison Jr. for 2 or 3 years.
Guy.
So
okay.
He's really good. He'll be a second-round pick too. So, yeah, if you move up and get a tackle, you have a good fallback plan to get him at least. And you got Ringo and those guys in the back that maybe they're seeing things that are panning out differently. You got Simmons out there as a potential. There's always talks about bringing him to Philly as well to play Justin Simmons.
Okay.
Could be another day 2 second-round draft pick kind of swapped that way. Obviously safety, but still, I mean, just to bolster that secondary. But it's an intriguing position to be in. I think that Howie's done great at locking up the core. I know they're in a win now mode, but they're also in a win in the future. Given to see what Sirianni does this year. But they have a really good chance to have a pretty good solid core going into this stretch of, 2024 to 2028, really, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, the Devonta Smith extension. So he was already under contract under this season, and his 5th-year option started next season. Mm-hmm. So the 3-year extension kicks in after that, and he's signed through 2028.
Yeah.
And, honestly, he kind of got ripped off.
Well, he beat Howie does that, though.
I shouldn't say it like that, but when you look at it 3 years, $75 million, yeah, that looks like $25 million. But when you put it together with the 2 years that he's currently on, it comes out to 5 years, $98 million, which that's about $20 million a season instead of $25 million. He probably could have gotten better, but at the same time, he gets the guaranteed money now, right?
Yep.
He gets to stay in a city that he's loved so far. He gets to play for a contender, and the Eagles kind of set the market once again.
Yeah,
right. That's the move.
They did it with Hurts too. I mean, Howie Roseman again working his genius, where now you got guys like, Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb don't want to show up to voluntary workouts or whatever just because they're still waiting on their, the year contract and all that stuff. So Howie's great at kind of predicting the market for big money position off seasons. He did it with Hurts, did it with Devontae.
Did it with Dickerson.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's a smart man all around, which I was curious because the other guy on his team who was like the head contracts guy just recently left the Eagles, who was like a high school friend or grade school friend even. So I was like, oh shit, maybe that's like the mastermind. But no, Howie, he
still got
contracts is always what he's been good at that way. And he's once again done it. I mean, having Devontae locked in with that, with Hurts, to be by his side with A.J. Brown, who's also still young, which is kind of, it always surprises me when I see how young he is because he just seems older, but he was drafted the same year DK Metcalf was.
Yeah, he came in the league at a young age.
Yeah, so it's like it makes no sense, but you're like, oh, interesting. But yeah, man, it's exciting.
It's good to have Brown and Devontae around for this foreseeable future. Like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people have been saying like, oh, you just can't sign to receivers like that long term. It's like wrong.
Yeah, sure
yes, you can.
We went from having like a stretch of 5 or 6 years of having no 1,000-yard receiver. And now we signed 2 guys that have been back-to-back 1,000-yard receivers, which is like, what? It's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
And the fact that both of them now have a little bit of security is nice. There's not going to be that like, I need more targets to get. Yeah.
Which no other team in the NFC East at least can say. So it's built to be able to dominate the division. We should have we should go back to being back-to-back eventually, having divisional titles under our belt, where we win the NFC East multiple years like we did in the early 2000s with McNabb and all them. Because no one else has a core like this.
Yeah, I saw Skip Bayless on Twitter was pretty upset about the fact that the Eagles have had a good offseason. The Cowboys haven't done anything.
Awful one.
They got their long snapper. They got him.
Hey.
Yeah,
so,
he's no Rick Lovato, though, I'll tell you that much.
I think we signed his ass, too.
Yeah, I think we extended him for like another season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's another good NFL job.
Jake Elliott, I mean, Howie was cooking this offseason.
Yeah.
Little things, restructuring here and there, and next year you get that big cap boost.
Yeah.
So, he's wheeling and dealing, man. That's what he does.
Meanwhile, the Cowboys got CeeDee Lamb all pissed off. Hey, that's their problem.
Did you see some story about how seems to be some kind of little rift between Micah Parsons and the team?
Yeah. That could be, I'll tell you what.
Come
now,
home, man.
Here's what I'm saying, though. We got a 22nd first-round pick. Now, if we do want to get a linebacker in the first round, that I could see you swap, because Dallas will have a lower first-round pick than we do. You could potentially get Parsons and swap that pick. I don't know. We'll see. Parsons might win out.
That's not going to happen.
I'm just saying that's my wild prediction is that we end up getting Micah Parsons before the season starts. Because now you got Saquon Barkley, you got that Penn State connection, you got the Philadelphia connection. Micah Parsons said only reason why he didn't want to come to Philly was because he wanted to have some time away from home, be at a PA for a minute.
Hey.
He spent some time away, and the grass isn't always greener, man. Come home. If you have Micah Parsons on that defense now, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that fixes a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great to rub salt in the Dallas's wounds.
It probably won't
awesome.
Dallas will not probably do that trade. But
Jerry Jones, he's not getting sharper.
No. You saw his little doodle pad?
No, it was
What?
He was like it was like at a meeting, and they were like, someone got a picture of like the notepad he was drawing on during this meeting about like pre-draft shit or like off-season stuff, and it was literally just a notepad full of like scribbles and like doodle paint. Like it had nothing tangible on it. I mean, that's a long shot, obviously, but a man can dream.
Yeah, just throw it out there. If it happens, you look like a genius, and if it doesn't, no one will remember.
I look like my normal self.
That's how it works.
Yeah. What else happened with the Eagles? Oh, Hurts was talking about how he wants to be a sponge. It was just these Hurts quotes that you've
typical
come
sponge
to.
mode, baby.
Hurts.
SpongeBob Hurts.
Not
What did he
sicko
say?
mode, sponge mode, baby.
I'm just in sponge. This is from Brooks Kubena, The Athletic. I'm just in sponge mode, Hurts said. I'm talking about the coach, like the new coaches. I'm letting them do what it is they're going to do, and then just kind of adjust from there. I think the thing we all have to understand is the importance of a foundation in something. I think when that foundation isn't as strong as you need it to be, it may not last as long, or be as good in the end. So that's something we don't want to happen. I'm just trusting the process in terms of what they're doing. Such a boring quote.
Trying to think if it was the Sirianni sponge quote to be like, yeah, we want our players to be like a sponge, but sometimes you leave the sponge out too long and you don't wring it out well enough, and it gets it gets full of bacteria, and the sponge starts to smell, and sometimes you got to get a new sponge.
That's just a pet peeve of mine. I hate that shit.
To be fair, like
I don't use. It's wild to me that anyone uses sponges to clean.
What the fuck do you use?
One of those like
brushes?
brush things.
Fuck, that doesn't get it clean.
I use both, depending on what I'm washing.
Sponges are gross, man.
Sponges, that's what you get all up in there, man.
But yeah, that brings me to a point. Why would you want to be a sponge? Being a sponge does not sound ideal.
Well, when they say
you
you're
soak
learning,
up a bunch of good things, but you probably soak up a bunch of bad too.
Not Hurts,
You don't get to choose what you get to soak up.
Hurts' sponge is
He
probably
doesn't
real
soak up
methodical,
bad
though.
things. That's why he couldn't handle a blitz and threw 15 interceptions last year. He was soaking up the bad.
Whoa, easy now.
Hurts might be like the.
It's also because the receivers weren't running routes; they were just running
What's
all
that
willy-nilly.
like? What's that like nice sponge that was on like Shark Tank?
Sponge Daddy,
Scrub
baby.
Daddy.
Scrub Daddy.
From
Scrub Daddy.
Pensacola.
Yeah, it's right down the street
Yeah.
from where I work.
Oh, shit,
Scrub
really?
Daddy,
Right
it's
next to
right
the
there.
Birch
You
Beer
guys
place.
ever use one of those?
Fuck yeah, I got one
Yeah,
at
I like
home.
a Scrub Daddy. It's got the smiley face on
Yeah,
it.
he actually got one.
Sponge. Well, you're not a sponge guy. You can't use that now.
Well,
They got a brush, I'm pretty
this
sure,
ain't
too.
no
You're banned.
typical sponge.
You're banned.
Now, Sponge Daddy also has a little like cream too.
It's Scrub Daddy though.
They got that lotion or whatever. You use that to get like the shit off your stove or whatever. It's
Oh,
like
when
a
you said
grease
lotion, I was
buster.
like,
Like
they
a
make
degreaser?
lotion for your skin?
No. Like the degreaser. Yeah. No, it
use
fucks
it-
up your
yeah.
hands. It makes them all dried up.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm into it. This team's got me all hype again. I'm ready for another bold prediction in a week or so. Not right
Yeah,
now.
April 30th,
Yeah,
2023.
after
That one didn't come true. You got to make a new one April 30th, 2024.
They're looking good. They got like Hurt said, the foundation is set. We'll see what these coordinators can whip up and what we do with the draft. But it's definitely exciting. It was a great offseason, I think. A plus, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it was a very good offseason.
Yeah,
They did not bring in Bill Belichick. Y'all seen this?
I did see that.
What's the story here?
So apparently, this was, I could read some of this. This article was long. But this was from Seth Wickersham of ESPN talking about how Belichick didn't land a job this offseason through the coaching cycle. So he says, in the coming weeks, this is from his article, in the coming weeks, Belichick is expected to sign a deal to do analysis for Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions, which produces ESPN's Manningcast during Monday Night Football. He's believed to be biding his time until next January for openings on teams he has told confidants he would be interested in coaching. The Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, and New York Giants.
The Giants.
He would want to go back there, I guess. I don't know.
I guess historical value.
A source who spoke with a longtime friend of Belichick said the friend wonders if the coach will have another opportunity. I don't think Bill Belichick will ever be a coach again in the NFL, the friend said, unless it's Jerry Jones. The article goes on to say some other stuff. Not since Paul Brown in the 1960s had such a revolutionary head coach been available. Owners and executives, even on teams that didn't have openings, discussed hiring Belichick. Among them were the Eagles, who were coming off a disappointing finish 1 year after a narrow Super Bowl loss. Owner Jeffrey Lurie and general manager Howie Roseman, both Belichick fans, still strongly believed in their current head coach Nick Sirianni, who over a stretch went 26-5. But Lurie thought it's worth asking a confidant of his about Belichick. A source close to Belichick said the coach would have been interested.
Yeah.
Roseman told ESPN he had a conversation with Belichick, a check-in to see how the coach was doing after he was out in New England. A source close to Belichick confirmed there was no talk during the call about working for the Eagles. Still, there was chatter in league circles that Philadelphia and Belichick could be a match. Despite some owners and executives believing the game had passed Belichick by, the Eagles felt he still had his fastball. After all, he had nearly beaten them in the 2023 season opener with an inferior team. That butt-ass game.
Mm-hmm. In the rain, though, it was a sloppy game.
There's also a belief that Belichick will coach only until he gets 15 more wins, enough to pass Don Shula as the winningest coach in NFL history. Though not seriously considering a move, Lurie wondered to a confidant, was it worth overhauling the building, changing personnel, and philosophies on everything from training staff to salary cap structure for someone who might coach only 2 years. There's more in the article. It says, like, Dallas is very interested too. But, like, could you imagine if they made that mistake? They still might next year.
I could see that. I don't see them doing it next year. I think that this would have been the year to make the Bader swap, especially if you're going to have a solid team. The thing is, it doesn't scare me if they did do it next year either, because you have... It's not like when Chip Kelly came in here and fucked up the whole team. Like, no one... With the cap hits all of your weapons have, you're not going to... No coach coming in is going to dismantle the team itself. He might change philosophy and have to start over that way again. But having committed now to Sirianni and Vic Fangio now, him coming in and Kellen Moore, to do it again with the way that they're projecting of having a solid foundation to build for the future, throwing in a guy like Belichick to come in here and revamp the whole team in a time when you have players committed for 4 more years, doesn't make sense. All these cap moves, all these signings, I think, send a message of stability, which I was preaching last year in head coaching, where Sirianni had to slip off. Okay, we get that. I think that he pleaded his case that it was more so on the coordinators than it was him, and he took ownership of, I have to have more, ownership of being able to be the head coach and get these guys right to play throughout the whole season. I think this season is going to be a big tell for that, but it was intriguing to see that Belichick had a itch to... I mean, who wouldn't? Anybody that was a free head coach. I'm surprised they didn't go for Vrabel. I mean, you got an offense.
True.
You have anybody could coach this offensive team just the way that they are set up, and that's before we got Saquon Barkley up in here. You know what I mean? Or any of the other free agency moves that we did. But Belichick, you get a guy like that, you got to kick the tires on it. Why? How could you not?
Yeah, I mean, you got to at least entertain it.
He's gonna. I mean, he's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame as a head coach. Obviously, he had the downfall after Brady, so people are going to say, well, was it Brady or Belichick? But
I mean, that roster has been awful the past.
It's just bad. It's just a bad team up there. I mean, the defense is still good, which is what he's known for. That's what his bread and butter was when he was with the Browns, when he went with Parcells in New York. So he's always had a great defensive team. Even early years with Drew Bledsoe, before Brady got in there, their defense is what carried them throughout some things. But you got to entertain that fact, especially when you're in a potentially transitioning zone with the Eagles. But we weren't sure if we're going to bring Sirianni back. Should we get a new young head coach? If we're going to either go through a young guy from college or Bill Belichick is on the market, it's worth testing it out. I like that they did it backdoor, though. They did it all through confidants, not like,
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't out in the open, but I still think, kind of like the article said, like the coaches and scouts all said, like, yeah, the game's passed him by. I kind of feel like that, too. I think that bring him in would have been a mistake, especially in Philly. People aren't going to put up with his shit in Philly. He's an asshole, dude. We're on to Cincinnati. No, I don't have anything to say.
Not dissimilar though to early years of Andy Reid, though. Andy Reid was never a big talker at the press box either.
He was better than Belichick.
Barely, but if you look at the old tape, he was not that.
Time's yours.
It's the same thing, though. It's all on me. I got to put people in better position to win. I mean, it's the same.
Belichick doesn't even say that. He throws his players under the bus.
My point, though, is that
although we would like that. That'd be good drama.
That's fine.
That'd be good for some media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that
WIP would love it.
But I'm glad they didn't take it. But it makes sense. How could you not?
Yeah, I don't want that guy coaching my football team.
And neither does Laurie, apparently. And I think, though, the 14-game thing for the Don Shula is only if he were to go coach like a shitty team. You can kind of sneak by, get your 14 wins called today. If you came here...
It might take him like 4 years on
you
a
wouldn't,
bad team.
Yeah, but you come here like, what's the point of retiring when you could potentially have not a dynasty right now. I'm just saying that, but if you were to get it into gear and you produce a championship contending team year after year, it's a good drug. He ain't leaving that shit. And he's already closer to Florida than he would be if he was in Boston still. So, he's good to go.
Yeah, I think that's probably why he wants to move. Like, all the teams are NFC East teams, right? Like, he's not trying to go out west.
No. Nah. He's been in Cleveland, New York, or Boston. He's stayed pretty much, it's only a 5.5 hour drive, as we've all experienced, to get to Cleveland. He's been on this side of on the Mississippi.
Cleveland's farther than that. It's like 7, dude. Trust me, I know Cleveland.
We know you know.
Erie's a little close. No, Erie's kind of far too, though. Erie's like 6.5 hours now.
Well, 5 a.m. it's 6 a.m. it's 5.5.
True.
Depending on how fast you drive.
Nah, Cleveland's still kind of far yet. But yeah, he ain't going back to Cleveland. I might, but he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have some more draft talk next week. We got to talk about your boy, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I don't like him.
I don't know why the hate is coming so hard at Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
We'll talk about him more next week.
That's fine. You better have your stats ready.
Oh, I have my stats
Mr. Non-pre-draft ready to go.
I have my scouting report ready.
You
Yes,
better.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'll be deflecting every one of those things you got to throw at me. I'm ready to roll. I've been studying this shit.
We'll see. We will see.
We shall see.
Losers. The debate has to do a shot next week. Trevor, you got to moderate.
So I'll be the judge.
In all fairness, though, now you got to be fair.
Yeah, you got to moderate.
Okay.
So you can't do any research on Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at all.
Yeah,
How am I going to know what questions to ask?
All right. Well, It's like what's that shit called? Not jury duty, but a mock trial. Just whoever. You just got to go with your gut.
Yeah, just listen to us.
Go with what the Eagles need and how we plead our case, and then you say who wins, and then whoever loser has to do a shot.
We'll figure this out.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, I guess that just wraps up the Birds. I guess we'll touch on the Phils. Good, clean sweep of the Rockies. That game last night got a little rocky.
A little close. Holy shit.
Yeah, I put that game on because the Sixers were pissing me off.
I
got so annoyed by the Phillies, I had to turn back to the Sixers, which ended up working out.
Yeah. It looked like it was about to be a bad night on both accounts, but
I mean,
they pull it out.
7-5. It was
7-1.
Hey,
they were up 7-1.
Yeah.
They gave up five unanswered runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gregory Soto, man, he ain't it.
Mm-mm.
He was the one giving up all the runs.
Yeah, I saw he had like 500 runs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But all in all, they look good. I mean, it was on the
Ranger,
mound.
your boy, our boy. Not last night. Chris Sanchez was on last night.
Killing it last night.
I'm talking about the game before that.
He had 10 strikeouts, 6 innings.
Still, yeah, Sanchez had 10 strikeouts, which was phenomenal. And the team was, since Howard Eskin said that dumbass thing of, well, when are they going to start hitting the ball? They popped off last night. Schwarber with 2 home runs, a back-to-back with Schwarber and Trey Turner. It was good to see.
So check out their offensive profile, like statistically as a team, right? So they're 11th in batting average, 237. Dude, they're 12th in runs at 72, which that's over, what have they played, 19 games?
Is this just in the NL or
in the
overall?
NL, yeah, this is the NL. They're 13th in OPS at 679, 11th in OBP at 308. But somehow, they're 5th in home runs.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. They're 4th in stolen bases. Like, I don't understand this offensive, like, statistical profile. Like, you would think with that bad of an OPS that they wouldn't have 21 home runs. They wouldn't be 5th in the league in home runs. You would think, like, with the 237 batting average, like, they wouldn't have nearly as good of an on-base percent, or the on-base percentage isn't good, I guess. My point is the statistical profile is all over the place. How are you 5th in home runs, but 13th in OPS? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I mean, I guess it's still pretty early. It's still a relatively small sample.
Probably because everyone else is striking out, too. Like, you don't have a good, like, there's no...
Yeah, I guess they're not hitting many, like, doubles or triples either.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
I mean,
last
night was nice.
A homer or bust.
2 games ago was nice because Trey Turner hit a double, then Harper hit a double, so that helped it out. But, like, no one else is really doing that shit. It's either home run, maybe a single here and there.
As I mentioned earlier, Nick Castellanos has still
doesn't have a single.
He's sub 200 batting average.
He's the only qualifying player in the majors without an extra base hit.
Yep.
Dude, did you see? I saw this on Twitter. I wasn't watching the game live, but I think it was one of these Rockies games where the pitcher throws a ball out of his hands. It's a ball. It's in the left-hand batter's box.
Oh, yeah.
And Sirianni checked at it. Or Castellanos. The wrong Nick. Castellanos checked at it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, That's clearly a guy that just went up there with no game plan. Like, whatever he throws, I'm just going to swing it.
He's just not thinking. He's not thinking at all. Someone says, like, when you're playing MLB The Show, it's like, I'm just swinging at everything. Like, that's just what this guy does. He's golfing. He's just golfing for everything.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
I don't know if he's reading I don't think he actually knows how to read a ball that's coming in. This season, at least.
I don't think he pays attention to the scouting reports.
Nothing. It's like, I bet you he's like a McNabb guy where they're going to give him some like report, but like, oh yeah, I read it, it's great. It's like just scribble scrapped or like nothing really tangible there. He's like, oh, it was great. I read that.
Yeah, pull a Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just hope he comes around, I guess.
Even if he just a little bit around is fine. But to be so
We're not asking for much.
He's 100. What is that? 137 average right now, batting
I haven't
average?
checked.
It's terrible. Just get to 250, 225.
I'll take 200. Get above 200.
2's fine, but nothing crazy. Just get on base. He can't even do that.
Yeah, and like when he does get on base, it's a single or an error. It's not like he's working walks.
No, his only extra base hit was because they fucking ran into each other.
Yeah, it was an error. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly just sad. He needs another wake up call like Trey Turner did.
Trey Turner's been raking.
Yeah, but he's got a what 8-game hit or 8-game hit streak right now.
He's hitting 329.
Yeah.
With a 487 slug. He's doing good.
Someone needs to call up next.
Maybe.
Damn, now you got me doing that shit. I said, Nick
Sirianni, Castellanos. They're both Knicks, and their last names are both Italian, man.
Yeah. One of his parents had to call him a bitch.
Yeah.
And then I'll be Betty.
I mean, it seems like
maybe
every
his son. His son's always at the games.
He hasn't been showing up. Maybe he's in school.
He's probably in school yet.
Man, pull him out of school, get him back in there.
Yeah, that's probably why he's playing bad, because his son's not there.
Yeah.
That's definitely it. That kid needs to drop out, dude. How old is he? 10?
I don't think he's old enough to drop out of school.
He can be.
He should just be homeschooled.
What's he gonna learn? Addition, multiplication, fuck that.
Yo, what do they even teach kids in school anymore?
I don't know.
Like, when we were in high school, man, they taught me, like, trigonometry.
Can he do this shit all virtually now? He can just put it on an iPad in the dugout and call it a day.
He should be able to. He can watch some videos on YouTube to learn his math, dude.
He'll be all right.
But nah, like
he should just start working. Honestly,
if he's 10, they're gonna teach him geometry that he's never gonna use. Like, yeah, you need to know like basics, like what is a circle, what is a square.
Well, he's not 4. He'll be
basics, yeah.
He's fucking 10.
He's got one of those little boxes with the peg where it's like you put the pegs in a different.
My point being,
like, all he's got to do is know how to do that, and I mean, you're fine.
No wonder Castellanos is like, I can't hit shit right now. His son's still like trying to figure out how to put a square in a circle peg at 12 years old.
Nick can't figure that shit out.
My point being, his son already knows these things, man. The stuff they're teaching you in geometry in 8th grade, you're never gonna use. Have you ever used the Pythagorean theorem in your life outside of math class?
I hate math. I've always hated math.
No, that's good to know, though.
Why? Tell me why you.
This is a mental exercise.
Is that the A squared plus B squared?
I'm pro education. I think.
Is that A squared plus B squared is C squared?
Yeah, I'm pro education.
You ever build anything? Isn't that what that's for? For like building shit?
Yeah, but
you need to. I mean, you use that kind of stuff in the carpentry or
IKEA doesn't count, Trevor. IKEA doesn't.
You're not a carpenter. Neither is Liam Castellanos. He ain't gonna be a carpenter.
Well, not if he doesn't know his shapes yet.
Yeah,
I think he knows. He knows a baseball is a sphere, right? He knows that much.
I hope so.
It's probably more than his dad knows right now, swinging that ball's 2 feet out of the strike zone.
He thinks the ball's a fucking crescent moon coming at that plate right now.
Like, I thought it was a rhombus.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point being, man, get that kid out of school, get him in the stands.
Yeah.
We support education on the pod, but we support the Phillies more.
Right. It's only one kid, so it's not like it's the whole education
we're not telling
system.
every kid in Philadelphia to drop out. Hold up. Do you think Castellanos' kid, he lives in the Simo the Savage house? He does, right?
I guess.
The house is big as
still
shit.
living there. Yeah.
But they got rid of the Simo the Savage room, though, right?
Well, I'm sure they redecorated.
You know what it is. There's still some bad juju in there, though, from Simo the Savage.
Yeah, I need to burn some sage.
Yeah. Or just burn the damn house down.
Yeah, just raise it.
That's what they should do.
Well, with that nice fat contract, he definitely can.
I don't know. I support it, but I don't think he does. He's got to do something, man. No, he's got to wake up. It's like, I think a lot of that's probably what's holding the offense back. If you figured he was contributing a little bit more, they don't have a 679 OPS.
Let's also not keep the flack off of Bryce Harper too, being a whole ass liability out there.
Yeah, he's
also
hitting 217.
he is not
4 dingers, 4 dingers.
He is like Schwarber, home run or bust, honestly, at this point, because he strikes out at shit. He's also swinging at stuff that
He looks bad.
doesn't
too.
make sense.
He looks a little better than Castellanos,
first inning
but that ain't saying much.
Even last night, though, first inning, Schwarber, boom, powerhouse out. Trey Turner, boom, first pitch out. Harper, the guy's rattled, and you're swinging at shit that. Come on now, it's just terrible. He's not seeing the ball well at all.
Yeah.
I don't think right now. He got lucky in the rain with that great game.
3-homer game.
And he hit that double the other night. But other than that, he's been a whole ass liability too at 3.
Yeah.
JT's even killing it right now. You got a guy that starts us off that's either home run or bust, or like can't run out a fucking infield ball or whatever because Schwarber's kind of chunky. Turner's been killing it, but it's almost like every other batter in the first 5 are a whole liability because you got Schwarber who could see what he does. Turner's been killing it. Then you got Harper who's hit or miss. JT's killing it. Then you got fucking Castellanos.
Yeah, and then Wet Brandon's still killing it,
and
too.
Wet Brandon's killing it. And even Baum's been doing great, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Baum, Stott, Wet Brandon.
No, Rojas even went
was
2 for 3
last
with
night.
a walk, too.
Yeah.
He's up to 200 on the year.
So, it's just, if one of those two could just click it into gear, which probably will be Harper first, we'd be okay.
I mean, long term, I'm not really concerned about Harper. I think he also has been hitting into some loud outs here and there, which just like the odds are that'll start to turn around and have the positive regression or whatever.
I think that first game
but
against the Rockies too, he had one that was a bomb to deep left center that would have been a double or triple, but the guy made it phenomenal. He's just been getting snagged. I mean
you also
great
have to
plays
figure
too.
It still ain't hitting season 2 yet.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, the only person that I'm kind of legit worried about is Castellanos, just because it's not.
He's not even hitting.
He just looks
Right, but
completely
neither
lost.
is Harper really either. To be honest, I mean,
Harper's making hard contact. Castellanos isn't even making
Yeah.
contact. That's a problem.
he's trash.
But hopefully he figures it out because he's a fun guy to root for.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he's saying things like Scooby Doo's his favorite superhero.
Yeah.
I like
exactly.
the milk and the red wine thing too. In the beginning, I'm like, that's a great comparison for baseball. You know what I mean? Like some people are milk and some people age like wine. I'm like, okay, he's aging like fucking milk right now.
Yeah, he's
It's some sour ass milk. And even summertime yet. He's already fucking churning.
He's a sour gallon of milk on a hot
Yeah.
summer day in the sun, dude.
Yeah.
Nasty, just stinking up the
Chunky.
whole joint.
Little chunky.
Yeah,
You can't get it out.
curdling.
You can't get it out of it. You're like, ugh, yeah.
Turning yellow. It's like he ain't turning yellow. He ain't got jaundice.
Nah, he's Italian though. Could be turning yellow. Well,
What else I got on the Phillies?
he's
It's like you got more on
no,
Castellanos.
I'm done. I gotta cool off.
okay.
I gotta cool off.
So my boy Taiwan Walker's apparently come close to coming back.
Oh boy,
I don't want him to come back.
hell no.
His velocity. So apparently, I was reading this Mac Alba article today, and apparently, Taiwan Walker's velo in what was it 2 years ago? His average fastball velocity was 94 miles per hour.
It's like in the high 80s now, isn't it?
Yeah, last year was 92. He topped out at 91 in his rehab. So what makes it? He's like, but yeah,
That's
I feel
no
like,
good.
bro. He's like, bro, I feel like I'm ready to come back. In what world are you ready to come back if you're
Right.
topping out at 91?
Unless you're getting rid of your four seam and just throwing cutters and sliders, we don't.
Well, he was trying to argue, it's like, oh, I have more movement now. No, he doesn't.
No, you do not. You
I don't
need
like this guy, dude.
No.
I really don't like him.
Yeah,
And
between that and how he was kind of like bitching last season.
Yeah, I
that
do
he
not-
wasn't getting used in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Like he just not good vibes.
We got him from the Mets.
Used to
We
be,
should've
yeah,
sent
exactly. He used to be on the Mets.
Yeah, we should have sent his ass back. He could have stayed there.
Well, if his last
Yeah.
name holds true,
he's definitely. I mean, they're definitely not going to take anyone out of that rotation for him right now.
There's no need to.
Nah,
Yeah,
everyone's
doing
dealing.
fine.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Like, Turnbull would have been a weak link, but he's been doing good.
yeah, he
unless
might end up
Walker
being
wants
an
to be
odd
like
man
a
out.
mid,
A
Long
long
man.
reliever.
a mid
Yeah.
reliever, you're not a starting pitcher by any means. You don't deserve to knock anybody off.
You can't, like, you're throwing 91 in the current MLB landscape. He's going to get shelled, dude. That was his issue last year. He would start games throwing like 91, 92 miles per hour.
And they go to 88.
Before you know it, you're down 3-4 runs. Then he's trying to piece together a decent start.
Right.
He did it more often than not, but I'm just not convinced he's going to be able to repeat that again this year.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
Not with the bullpen that's already so stacked. Like, we don't need to force feed him to come back in here. We're good to go.
The rotation's good. The bullpen's fine for the most part.
If you can put your pride aside and be a mid-round pitcher or whatever it is, a mid-relief pitcher, go for it. But you don't have it anymore, and it's okay. You lose the juice. You get a couple injuries. The game's a game, baby. But you ain't a starting pitcher right now. Not when we have a stacked ass bullpen. Even Sanchez. Granted, it was the Rockies and all that, but
he was killing.
He was
though.
cooking though. Yeah.
Yeah, Ranger had the complete game shutout.
112 pitches set his record for personal best, most pitches ever thrown. He had.
Yeah, he's been doing good.
Yeah.
Wheeler and Nola. Wheeler got roughed up his last start, but he'll be fine.
It was a fucked up.
Nola was good his last
3-hour delay, 4-hour delay
Yeah.
though. So that messes everybody up. But
You would never send one of them take one of them out of the rotation for Walker's butt ass anyway.
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're looking good. I think they did what they last season. I think we would have seen this team come out here and probably slip up on a game. It's nice to have an early season sweep of a team that we should sweep.
3 games over 500 this early in the year. It's a miracle.
Then you play the White Sox, who,
Terrible.
I don't think they've scored more than one run.
They're
in
3 and
Dude, I saw
they have some stats that are like, it makes no sense mathematically how that's even possible.
Dude, they're 3-15.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
They were the first.
I saw they had like a doubleheader the other day, and between both games, there was just like less than 1,000 people at the game. Something pathetic like that. It was just nobody are coming to those games. That is a sad sack franchise.
I mean,
bad.
I probably wouldn't go to a doubleheader in Chicago in mid-April either. Like
No.
that weather's
The weather's
probably
probably
horrible.
shit.
They did win the second game of the doubleheader, which
for them.
so they got that. But
Yeah.
I don't think they had scored 2 runs in I think it took them 8 or 9 games to even do that. They're just bad.
Yeah, they are bad.
Yeah.
So we should have.
We should sweep
We
them.
should have
Sweep 'em up.
back-to-back sweeps
Back-to-back
here.
sweep,
Yeah.
baby.
Then we go out on the road for a 10-game trip. We play Cincy for 4. We
That'd
got
be a
the
tough-
Padres yet.
Those will be 2
And
tough
then the
stretches
Angels.
there.
The Angels are 9-10. The Angels are doing okay right now.
Trout's looking pretty right with the
Padres are
Angels?
500.
Yeah.
The Reds, I think, are 9-9. And we haven't really been on the road much. We've been on the road for like
Yeah,
one
they've been
series.
home a
So,
lot.
And local, what, DC?
yeah,
You're
that
not,
wasn't even that far.
you ain't going
So we're
anywhere.
gonna get tested a little bit, but
But you're
that's
going
why
to
that's why we got to sweep the what do you call it, the White Sox.
Yeah, but you're going to warmer weather too. I mean, you get Chicago, which is a shitty team in shitty weather, but then you got,
Well, no, Chicago's home.
Chicago's
that's
still
here.
home?
Yeah, that's here.
Okay, again, shitty weather probably. So then, but then you get a nice little West Coast drive. You'll be all right.
Yeah, Cincinnati probably be okay. San Diego to be beautiful. LA will be beautiful.
Trout's been hot though.
Yeah. So he had to get Shohei off his team. He
Yeah.
can shine again.
Yeah. But
Yeah, so you seen
Feeling good.
Shohei's guy. What happened to his translator? Did you see what happened with his translator?
I think they killed him.
Didn't he get?
They
yeah.
executed him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the bottom of the river now. No, didn't he get like
He got
indicted
charged,
or
right?
something or charged? Yeah.
I didn't see. I was asking. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really follow it.
We saw Jonte Porter.
Still seems.
Oh yeah.
His ass got banned.
Yeah, he
Dude.
got murked.
It's a good transition to the NBA. I think we're done with the Phils.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah. Permanently banned from the NBA.
What was it? Someone was placing like $80,000 prop bets on him.
Yeah.
You don't think that's gonna raise any red
I know,
flags?
right.
Like this mediocre, like
$80,000.
third string players. Someone's placing 80 grand prop bets on him.
Nothing
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
here.
What?
Yeah.
What sports book allows you to place a bet that big on some random?
I mean, it must have been one of the like bigger market making books. Definitely not one of the retail books. Like it wasn't like FanDuel or
Right,
DraftKings.
yeah, I was gonna
that
say
you
that-
can't bet that much.
Nothing
on
that
there.
I would bet on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It was probably like Pinnacle or Circa or one of those.
Or might be some Canadian one since he's playing for the Raptors.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe some weird
Live
yeah.
casino.
Whatever,
That-
man.
But yeah, done, man. I mean, whatever. Ain't gonna miss him.
Yeah, we're not a Raptors podcast. I feel bad
No.
for anyone who is a Raptors podcast these days. That team's a sad state.
You know what sucks though too as a Raptors fan too, seeing Nick Nurse
Yeah,
getting his team,
speaking of former Raptors,
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry, Nick Nurse,
Yep.
we're doing good.
getting his team
Killing
moving
it.
and grooving, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So wild game last night. the whole roller coaster of emotions. I mean, that started out as, probably with Embiid, that was the worst first half they've played all year. I think
even worse.
I don't know if I would say the worst all year. Well, before he got hurt, they played some bad ones. Against the Knicks, that first game.
That's true. Yeah, they had
that was
one.
a bad one.
But 39 points in the first half.
Yeah, that was historically
that's
bad.
pretty pathetic.
That is awful.
Historically bad.
It's up there as one of their worst all season.
Yeah,
And they scored 30 points in the third quarter.
Yeah.
They were the first half was just, I think, at least it was, I know Embiid was a little jammed up from re-aggravating his knee a couple weeks ago, but we kind of had a nice upward trajectory of like, damn, Embiid's back. Like, he's getting better and better every week. That he looked worse then than he did the first game back when he first came back. Not to be confusing here for a minute, you know what I mean?
I get you, but the thing is, like, it's not even like he looked unhealthy. Like, he wasn't limping.
No, just,
you know what I mean? Like,
he just looked visibly gassed.
Yeah, he just looked tired.
Yeah,
which I think
it just looked like he wasn't ready for the playoff intensity. From the jump, stamina wise,
I get that playoff intensity, but like first quarter, he had no. I mean, he was wheezing from the jump. Third quarter hits, I get it. Playoff intensity against the Heat, especially, you want to get a little tired looking. I get that. He was fucking done after the tip-off. He just looked tired the whole entire time. Hands on his knees, sweating like a motherfucker. Didn't really go up and down the court at all. I mean, he was done.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like they said it on the broadcast that he was gassed in warm-ups, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Burke was like, he was looking we were here early. She was like, we were here. He was hands on his knees just doing shoot-around.
Yeah.
Which is a little odd for me, given the fact that he had such a good, I guess it was 7-game stretch.
Yeah,
before
he only missed
it.
He only sat out like 5 days.
Yeah.
Maybe he was sick. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not trying to make excuses for him.
At least they have an extra day to rest here.
You're also not playing shitty. You're playing the Heat in the playoffs, so maybe it's more. Yeah, but I can see fatigue in the late second, early third, given the injury. But first quarter, even then, he just looked off, which was unusual, given the little sample size that we had post-injury return Embiid. That's all.
Yeah, and I mean, it also didn't help that Maxey looked like he had never seen a zone defense in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maxey looked
I don't know what the hell he was doing.
No.
To be fair, he did take an elbow to the side of his head early in that game, so maybe that messed with him a little bit.
But he didn't start really diving into the paint until late third, early fourth. He was relying a lot on his deep ball, which he did not have at all in the first half.
Yeah, I think he's 1 of 6 from 3 for the game.
Yeah. But then he didn't do his classic, OG Maxey shit where he just kind of jumps in there and does a little layup in there until later in the game, and it was working for him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a team, no one was really driving the paint in the first half.
Yeah, we could not get anything in the paint.
Nothing.
The first half, it was just every single pass just got tipped.
Turnovers were, oh my God, 17, 13 turnovers in the first half.
13 turnovers in the first half alone. Yeah. That's a game's worth.
They could not move the ball at all. It was, really frustrating.
And then, they were just setting for these long contested threes. It was ugly.
Yeah, being forced into some really bad shots.
The first half, I was like, oh, man, this is, down by 10-plus points. I'm thinking, all right, he gets the ball back first as well. We'll see what happens here. But talk about a turnaround.
Yeah, Nick Batum, man. Well, hold on. Nick Batum and Brickin' for Chicken.
Yeah, it's the Brickin' for Chicken right there.
See, it is. That's it. That was the turning point.
Yeah, it was. It's wild to think because, second half, I was watching the game. Halftime hits, we're down 12. Fans are booing the team off the court. I'm like, man, I'm tired. I got to go in the office for work tomorrow. I might just go to sleep now and just get some extra rest. But then I put the Phillies game on, and they were in the midst of giving up five runs, and I was like, all right, I can't watch this. Let me switch back to the Sixers, see if they do any better. So then they're still down 11. I'm like, all right, I'm about to give up. And then, Caleb Martin goes to the line, misses the first free throw, and the fans start getting louder. They start getting louder. And then he bricks the second. And then after that, Batum just starts going off. He hits 2 or 3 threes in a row. Buddy hits a 3. there's the alley-oop to B-ball Paul, and we're back in the game, dude. I was just like, oh, wow, I guess I'm up for this.
And the crowd was going bonkers.
And it all started when breaking for chicken.
Yep. Yeah, even JJ was like, yeah, Philly's the best sports city in the country right now. Like, it's amazing to be here when you're playing here for this kind of environment. And they'll give it to you like that. I mean, going into the half, why would you be happy at all?
Oh,
they booed every time Tobias got the ball.
They've never seen a goddamn zone in their life.
But second half, they came out here. They were playing their ass off. Fucking Oubre, third quarter, was flying around. He was everywhere. Which way and what?
Oubre, all those free throws at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Clutch.
And it's just defensive presence. We haven't had a guy, and I was telling Trevor this before the pod too, is that like, last year we had Maxey and all that was great, but he's a little undersized to cover guys like Butler and Tatum and all those guys in the playoffs. Oubre is a bigger guy, and he's fast and physical. Doesn't draw a lot of fouls either. He's pretty smart with how he plays defense.
Yeah, he's not in the good graces of the refs right now.
No, but he
they didn't really. But they were letting everyone play.
Oh
last
yeah,
night.
third quarter
that was playoff ball.
Third quarter was
yeah.
playoff bat. They were letting everything fucking slide.
Yeah, they were letting a bunch of fouls go. When Bam Adebayo just like screens Embiid like he's an offensive lineman on like this was later in the game. This is like the fourth quarter. Screens Embiid, just holds him. Like in the NFL, that probably would have been a 15-yard penalty what Bam did to him. It was
People
wild.
were hitting the deck too. People were dropping like flies, but no calls. I'm like, all right, they're letting them play in both ways, which is great to see. Even Lowry, I think honestly too, even when they were playing pretty shittily in the first half and early third, Batum before he went off too, Lowry's just sheer athleticism and just aggression on the court is shown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it looked like he really got up for this game too because it was against the Heat.
You would have thought
a playoff game.
You would have thought he was playing volleyball. He's diving on the court, just trying to keep the ball in play, doing shit like that.
That's what he does.
You know, and we haven't had that in a while. You know,
especially not off the bench. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he did start this game, but
bench first half we got blown out, but then third quarter the
bench came
17-3.
Batum was shooting all those threes because he came off the bench. Buddy had some bench points.
Buddy looked good.
Campaign came in and hit that three.
Clutch
B-ball
three.
Paul had the oop.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great game, dude.
I mean, amazing game from Batum. I gotta play this Heat streamer losing his mind about Nick Batum.
No. Oh my.
A Batum bonanza. Yeah, I like a Mike Breen, dude.
Bro, this Batum guy. What would the Sixers do right now without Batum, man?
Lose.
Seriously. Bro, if we lose this game because of Nicholas Batum, bro, I don't know anymore, man. I really
that
don't know
putback
anymore.
was dirty, though.
How old is
that was
Nicholas
nasty.
Batum?
Nicholas Batum is 35 years old.
He's older than me by a few months.
Yeah, Siri, how old he is so good.
I said, boom, boom, Batum. The French Brigade is here.
And he gets the block at the end.
2.7 points this season? 2.7! And he has 20 of 6 threes! What is going on?
He was efficient as fuck.
Dude, yeah, he was killing it.
It's good stuff, man. I
Yo,
mean,
he did used to be nice. I had forgotten about this. I looked up his basketball reference page. He had like a bunch of years. We averaged like 14, 15 points a game in like the mid 2010s.
You also forget he's 7 foot tall too.
Yeah,
he's huge.
But he was playing great D. Like he was
covering Butler too.
He was denying Hero and Butler
he
the
was
ball.
playing good defense. He was playing very good defense all year.
For being an old cat like that off the bench, I mean, he was covering the Young Bucks very well. Shout out though to what's the guy from Miami, Jaime Jaquez. That guy was
he's
good,
a hooper,
though.
dude.
Yeah, he's
a hooper. He
was killing us for sure. But Batum was
Batum. And like, look, I know that in the past I've maybe said some disparaging things about the French on this podcast, but Batum, this is officially a pro France podcast.
Vive la France, baby.
Yo, back Hughes, my last name is French Canadian.
That's true. So we got going on. We got baguettes. Good.
Snails.
Yo, like a croissant, some escargot, you know what I'm saying?
Croissant.
What
else they got there? They got some pretty good wine there.
Gruyere.
Some Bordeaux.
Oh, yeah,
you
good
like
wine.
Gruyere?
Yeah.
A what?
Good Gruyere cheese. Yeah.
The cheese,
the
Gruyere.
cheese, yeah, it's a good cheese. They got that Eiffel Tower thing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
They got
out of
Harry
10.
Pitts.
The what's that museum they got there?
The Louvre?
The Louvre
Yeah.
with the Mona Lisa in there. They got all that kind of good stuff.
That's overrated.
The Mona Lisa's overrated.
Yeah. Yo, French toast.
French toast. Absolutely.
Hell yeah, I love toes.
Yo,
French
fries.
French fries.
Freedom fries, if you will.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we would never call them freedom fries anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, never
Yeah.
mind. My bad.
Little
Yeah,
pate.
I used to call them freedom fries, but after that game, switching back.
Yeah, man.
Yo, foie gras.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Fucking
Hold on. That's where they stuffed the pigeon, right? Or the duck. What's
duck.
foie gras?
The duck.
foie gras.
It's
Yeah.
duck. Yeah, man.
That's
French
animal.
do it right.
So would
Beautiful
we prefer
wine,
animal cruelty?
hairy women.
Yeah.
We like animal cruelty. We like
Fashion.
the foie gras. I never had it.
It's not cruel. You don't stuff it while it's alive.
I thought that's what it is. No.
I don't know.
I know it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I know. Like PETA does not like foie gras.
People don't like shit about anything that has to do with meat. Who
Yeah,
cares?
there are no
Fuck
fun
PETA.
there.
They had a song about crabs too. Crabs have feelings. Shut the fuck up.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't give a damn about a crab. They certainly don't care about me.
PETA don't know what's going on.
Whatever. What was the other thing I had on this game?
Computer's so fucked up.
What was the
My
other thing I had
computer's-
on this game? I don't remember the other note I had.
Literally being held together with duct tape.
I will say though too, Embiid, how gassed that he was when the game mattered. He did show
yeah,
up,
Yeah, he woke up at the end of the game.
and I like that he realized
There's
too.
two
Like
big threes at the end.
I
there.
think though too, like first half he tried a little too hard, or he was just trying his normal self and like shit just wasn't falling. Second half he realized, all right, I'll assume the double team and just dish it out to the right guy, and that's when Batum started popping off.
Yeah.
And then once Batum gave him a little bit of wiggle room, then you could see Embiid. They let him open at the top of the key twice, and he's like, all right, well now I'll take it. I didn't like his little kind of other 3-point shots or other kind of shit he was trying to be a bit more aggressive with. But once he realized that, Miami's giving him a little bit of wiggle room, now you can take your chance. Take that young cat.
Yeah.
Pass it
Also
out.
got a lot better distributing towards the end of the game.
Yeah,
So,
they
like,
passed to Oubre.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, in the beginning of the game, he kind of, looked a little bit lost and was getting double teamed, triple teamed. I mean, that was pretty much their game plan, was just mob Embiid, take him away, take away their best player,
That's when Butler was taking them cookies out of the cookie jar 3 times
Yeah,
off Embiid.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, normally you would think, as he's done pretty well this season, Embiid, when he gets those double teams, has been gotten better at finding the open man and threading some passes, and he just didn't have that in the first half. But towards the end of the game, that started to come around, and he hits Oubre for that good assist.
That was
That
like,
fucking volleyball spike,
oh, that was sick.
that was fucking
Oh,
that was
dirty.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the biggest tell for his knee because he went up and only landed on his right.
Yeah,
and kept that left one up
he
in
wasn't
the air.
moving too great after
Nah,
that either.
But that was some volleyball shit right there.
No,
that
that
was
was
that
cool.
fucking, that was beat me at the net type of shit. He said,
yeah.
yeah, that was cool. I didn't like that Lowry tried to get the foul though first. I understand his mindset on
Lowry's
that,
always doing that,
but
though.
he loves to put his butt in some other man's crotch. I will say he does that shit all the time.
Yeah.
He's always fucking scooting his boot on someone, which is fine.
When
I
it's
get
that
it.
big, you
Gotta
can't
use
help
what you
it.
got, man. You know?
I mean, it does have a dump truck. I get it, but like at the same time, like just we're down by fucking 8. Just you know what I mean. But I guess his height does fuck him up that way. But yeah, that was a sick pass. That was
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I liked how whenever there's a Mike Breen game, I'm always like, who's going to get the bang call at the end of the fourth? Embiid hit that 3. Mike Breen lets out the bang. I was like, hell yeah.
Yes, he
Embiid
knew
got
we were
the
gonna win.
bang.
Yeah.
yeah.
That ending though was a little spicy. I
Yeah,
will
it
say.
got hairy. It got hairy.
To be up by 5 and then only win by 1 was a little. Ew, I didn't like that. And then they were bitching about like the shot clock or the clock.
No, the
and
clock had expired.
The clock was
They-
already
they-
done. I love that
Yo,
ref.
Heat culture can kiss my ass, dude. Oh, you like Tony Brothers?
I just think
Who
he's
looks
funny
like
as
a
shit.
Goomba?
Yeah, I like with
I
the
don't
little
like
mustache.
I don't like Tony
I find
Brothers.
him hysterical.
I like the other guy on that crew, Bill Kennedy.
I like that he's got no
funny.
neck. He's just short and stocky.
He looks like a Goomba.
Yeah, but he was like,
Yo, what do
it's
you
over.
call it? On Jeff T, ex-NBA player on the Club 520 podcast, he had this funny clip about how his mom and his sister were at a game watching him play, and Tony Brothers was like, who them hoes? Jeff T was like, yeah, I was ready to beat his ass. He called my mom and my sister hoes.
You know who wasn't good last night?
Yo, that Toby sequence.
Toby.
Oh my!
Yo, that
3 in a
sequence.
row.
Oh my God.
Come on now.
All I
He
could do
gets
was
like 3
oh,
rebounds
shots.
and misses the layup every time.
Even the announcers were like, and he shot again, and he gets it again, and he missed it, and he got it again, and he missed it again. It's like, okay,
That was grotesque.
That was so bad,
Yeah.
pitiful.
I'm
But-
in pain thinking about that.
I feel like we gotta talk about this potential burner gate 2. This so today there was a Twitter account that some people got keyed onto at Jimmy Smith's 3273 that was responding to some tweets here. So like John Clark had a tweet here, just saying here from the Sixers, advancing to the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. And this guy replies, "One good game and everyone loves him," talking about Batum. Meanwhile, fans disrespecting the guy who has been here for 6 years is battling through an injury. No wonder why everyone says Philly fans suck.
Is Tobias hurt?
I mean, I guess he's technically coming back from an injury,
More than his
but it's
pride?
been a while now.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming back from whatever the hell it was. I don't even remember what it
Yeah.
was.
Another tweet, some guy says, Tobias Harris pulling all this bullshit, yet he makes more money than our bloodlines and the WNBA combined. Jimmy Smith replies, he earned every damn dollar. Why don't you quit pocket watching other men and make something out of your own life instead of tearing others down?
And wasn't it like all these tweets were sent like 3 hours after the game ended?
Yeah.
So it's plenty of time for Tobias or someone in his family to like.
The suspicion is that it's his dad. So and here's another interesting little angle here is that Tobias's father, we know is an agent, used to be Kelly Oubre's agent. Kelly fired him, apparently. And
Before he signed with the Sixers?
I think this happened years ago or something.
Oh.
Yeah. And so there was this post. Someone said
It was from a while ago where Kelly was dressed up like the cowboy.
Yeah. And it says, how do you rate Kelly Oubre's season? I rate an A+, and this guy replies, 11 points tonight on 3 of 9 from the field, and you don't say shit. Tobias goes 4-10 playing through an injury, and you act like he murdered someone. Be better.
He did. He murdered my fucking hopes and dreams
Yeah,
of
that's
what 40
definitely
million a year
Tobias or
should be.
someone in his family, man.
I don't think it's Tobias, but I would definitely buy that it could be his dad. Because apparently his dad has, done, before he has been known to send DMs and get into it with people
Man,
on
Tobias
Twitter
is a
and-
baby back bitch, dude. That guy fucking sucks. I'm over his bitch ass.
that sequence last night. And then he airballed
He dunked it off the back?
he airballed a 3 like really bad too in the first half.
And he hit the backboard so hard it just went fucking back to the fucking key just about.
Yeah, he got benched at the end of the game.
He had
Yeah.
to.
Batum was severely
There's just no
outplaying
way
him.
that there's anyone out there that's this adamant of a Toby defender that's not blood
Related to him. Yeah.
There's
like,
just no way.
No, it makes no sense.
It's
It makes no
like, yeah.
sense. Honestly, give me Ricky Council out there next time before he gets out there.
Shout out Ricky Council got
Yeah.
the 4-year deal, $7
Give
million.
me Ricky
Tobias is
Council.
battling through an injury, laying it all on the line every night, and you disrespect him like this. I expect fickle shit like this from the fans, but the media too, be better.
The thing is, it's not like if there was some substantial evidence to back up, like, okay, Tobias has been doing well, the amount of money he's being paid to play basketball and the actual production we're getting from him it's horrendous.
Yeah,
it's just
there's a
straight
huge
out robbery.
disparity,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just robbery. It is arguably one of the worst deals ever in NBA history, to be honest with you, money wise.
Yeah, it's gotten to that point.
Not an all-star. He might have
Yeah.
got robbed that 1 year. That was it. But other than that, he's not clutch. He can't really hit the 3. He can barely can't get a layup apparently when it matters.
That sequence
I
yesterday.
mean,
oh my
it's just
God.
pitiful. He gets wide open looks and hits the fucking backboard or airballs it. I mean, it's not even
Yeah,
close.
when he airballed that 1-3, that was sickening.
His defense is non-existent. I mean, there's no aspect of his game that
I'll give him credit. He rebounded really well last night. He had like 5 offensive rebounds or something.
phenomenal. But tell me Mo Bamba can't do that shit for half the price. to
I
rebound the
don't know
ball.
if Mo Bamba can.
rebound?
Mo
I don't know,
Bamba's
I don't know
pretty
if
Yes,
we
he
want to go
can.
that. I don't know if we want to go
Yeah,
that
I
far.
will. What are we all dancing around this shit for?
I'll
Yes,
give
he
you
can.
like B-ball Paul can. Ricky Council can. Mo Bamba's probably a stretch.
If I was gonna pay,
I do not want to see Mo Bamba.
I'd rather
in the
risk
playoffs.
paying Mo
KJ
Bamba.
Martin can get you 5 offensive rebounds.
I'd rather
yeah.
risk Mo Bamba rebounding for 10 mil than spending 40 mil for a guy that I'm paying not to rebound.
Well,
That's my point, though.
Yeah, the good news is he comes off the books.
It's pathetic.
Like, as much as I hope that this is a long playoff run, the sooner it's over, the sooner we'll never have to see Tobias Harris in a Sixers uniform again.
I almost threw my beer at the TV after that sequence.
Oh, I was furious. I was laughing just to keep myself from getting too angry.
I laughed at the first one. I was like, oh, classic Tobias. I'm like, all right, cool, they
Yeah.
got it. Second one, I'm like, okay, maybe. By the third one, I'm like, what the I was ready to throw the cat at the TV. I was furious.
Tobias.
We're kind of running low on time here, so we haven't really gotten to the
Yeah, we're going to
upcoming
talk
series
about
for
the
the
Knicks a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what do you got?
Man, fuck the Knicks. Fuck New York.
What do you think? I got predictions. We can talk about it a little bit and do a quick prediction.
I'll say, you want to do predictions first real quick?
Yeah, sure. Let's get it out of the way. I'm saying Sixers in 6.
Damn, I was going to say that too. I'm saying the same
I
thing.
feel like that's a popular.
I don't like this matchup.
I don't like it either, but that's why I'm saying it's. I mean, I think we're
I
definitely
really
the better
don't like it.
team on paper for sure. I think that the fact that Embiid is still not 100% healthy, the Knicks are a very physical team. They're gonna, be a pain. It's gonna be a huge pain in the ass. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that the Knicks have enough to keep up. I think we come out ahead. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop this first game on Saturday. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to pull this out in 6.
I say 6 just because I think that the team is a little bit energized right now. I mean, you're going to have a team with the Sixers. No doubt the Knicks are going to be tough to play. They got that Villanova connection. They know what they got. The only thing is, though, they all play a lot of minutes as well. So there's going to be some wear and tear with that Knicks team as well, trying to push these guys to play a lot of minutes every game, where I think that the Sixers are actually deeper than the Knicks are, which could benefit them as well in this playoff run. It's a close commute. You don't have to travel too far, which is also beneficial for the Sixers as well coming out of this break. You get Embiid a couple more days of break as well, having to get off today and tomorrow and then play Saturday. Tough game. I mean, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. Not saying we're going to walk into a 6-game win, but I can see that the Sixers have a little bit more edge to them than the Knicks do. I think the Knicks are kind of running off like feeling kind of hot. New York in the playoffs, we're good to go. I think the Sixers actually have some kind of grit for the first time in the last 3 years coming into the playoffs, where expectations are low. We're excited. We hope that they win, but we understand if they lose. It's not like before we're the 3 seed and we're like, oh, we have to go win and do all this stuff. It's like, hey, all right, we'll see what happens, which is a good place to be in. It's a dangerous place to be in. And I feel confident that the Sixers can get it done in
All right.
6.
So yeah, I'll explain a bunch of things and I'll get to my prediction. So yeah, in the Sixers' favor, they've won 9 in a row. Right? Like if we go back to the regular season plus
Right.
yesterday, they've won 9 in a row, which is great, right? I think in some ways that Heat matchup is going to challenge them a lot more than the Knicks are going to challenge them, in the sense that the Heat are also very physical.
Yeah.
I mean, that game at times last night, like they were fouling dudes left and right. The rest weren't blowing whistles. So like you're going to get a lot of that from the Knicks too. What the Knicks don't do that gave the Sixers a lot of trouble is they don't play zone defense as much as the Heat. They don't play that like crazy frantic zone defense
Right.
that the Heat play. So I think that the Sixers are going to be able to score some buckets more so than they were last night. But the Knicks are also a better offensive team. Like Jalen Brunson's a better offensive player than anyone that the Knicks have. Dante DiVincenzo is just as good as Tyler Hero, give or take, right? Like Josh Hart is like the X factor. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then like they got, what's this guy's name? Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein. They're going to make Embiid run up and down the court. And like, he didn't look unhealthy last night, but he didn't look like he was in great shape either.
Not great stamina-wise.
No.
And
Terrible.
I also think that OG Anunoby is going to be able to neutralize Maxey. That's like a top 5 defender in the league, right? So I think it's going to be an ugly matchup. I think this is going to be like some 90s ass basketball where like final score. We played.
here for
Remember
it.
we played the Knicks earlier this year. It was like 79-73.
We were healthy. Yeah.
I think we're going to be in for a couple games like that where the
Yeah.
final score is like 85-80.
Yeah.
This is going to be an ugly-ass series. I think that you're going to need guys like Oubre and Batum certainly to step up. I dare say we're going to need a good game out of Toby.
At least one. He
We're
has
gonna
to
need
at
it.
least. Yeah.
We're going to need it. They don't really have anyone. Yeah, I don't think the Knicks have anyone that can really stop Toby when he's on, which feels weird to say. Jimmy Smith, too, 32-73. I hear you, man. But I think if Toby's really hooping, like before, Julius Randle would be able to stop him, but he's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Anunoby's on Maxey, he's not guarding Toby. Josh Hart's too little. DiVincenzo's too little. Toby should be able to cook in that series. I know Oubre and DiVincenzo got into it that one game too, so Ubre's going to come
There'll
in
be a little
motivated.
tasting about that way. But you also got Buddy too, campaign out there.
Yeah. So I think the depth is going to be a challenge for the Knicks because their on-off numbers when Jalen Brunson's off the court, they're a completely different team. They're relying on like Deuce McBride to run their backup point. Y'all probably don't even know who the hell
I
that
don't know who
is.
the fuck that is.
He's Buck, dude.
That fucking
No
you
idea.
just made that name up.
No, he's not that good. So, like, all in all, I think this is going to be a really even series. The line is Sixers minus 120 to win. I got the Knicks in 7.
Which could be.
I think their physicality just wears us down. I hope I'm wrong, but, like, Anunoby's going to wear Maxey out. Embiid, maybe he gets healthy in a couple days and, like, gets healthier throughout the series. But if that doesn't happen, I don't see us winning. I think it'll be a great series regardless, but our depth has to carry us. Otherwise, it's Knicks in 7.
No, the health makes sense. I mean, they're not wearing us down. It's Embiid. You know, you go to a 7-game series against a tough competitor like that. Embiid is not going to be. We had high hopes, I think. This little 8-game series that we had in the regular season was great, but you're playing Orlando. You know what I mean? You're playing teams that aren't really at the time.
Played a couple good games. OKC,
You know, you're playing OKC,
Miami.
but without two of their
Yeah,
top
without
guys,
Jalen Williams and
without
Shea,
Butler.
yeah.
Like you're playing teams that are good, but they're not full health. And Embiid was back, so it had a chance to like kind of have limited minutes. And if you win, cool. If not, we're still being the play-in, no big deal. Where now it's like you're playing teams that they're cruising in. New York wants to make a statement. They want to make a deep run in the playoffs, and we're again kind of scratching and crawling our way through it. But you have a game against the Heat like this where it helps you expand your mind of who could be the X factor for us, where I think the depth of our lineup is going to be the key factor here for this series. And if we can get through this without a 7-game series, give Embiid a little bit more time back to recoup and reheal, we could be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
If we get through this series, things look good. Because Giannis is banged up. The Cavs,
I mean, Batum,
Magic don't scare me. The Pacers are flawed, right?
Yeah.
Like the Bucks, Giannis isn't even going to start that series.
and Dame looks pretty unhappy as well.
Dame's washed, dude.
But the fact that Batum was the X factor and Buddy Hield was the big guy we were excited to bring in hasn't really been an X factor yet in these meaningful last 10 games, to be honest with you. That could be a key contributor right there. Or Payne, go off for a 25-point game. So I think, I don't know, it's nice.
Ricky Council double-double in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
Bring
yeah,
it.
could be.
Got that new deal. It's right.
Yeah,
go
shout
time,
out
baby.
Ricky Council.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just going to about do it for us here tonight, everybody. Please leave us a 5-star rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Follow on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Send us an email at citywidepod@gmail.com. And from all of us here at the Citywide, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Shout out to the P-Tents.
Oh, yeah, Pete's undefeated, baby.
Yeah.